Welcome back to another episode of the Bleav Georgia Tech podcast. Only one of your co-hosts is here today. I'm Jackson Caudill, coming to you on Thursday, June 6th. It's a little bit of the slow season for college athletics right now, but there's always something to talk about, and it's always busy season in recruiting. Football recruiting is year-round, and look, there's nobody else you would want to talk to recruiting about than Najeh Wilkins. He works with me over at allyellowjackets.com, does a fantastic job. Najeh, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. I appreciate you having me on the show, man. Excited to talk to you and give us some updates on recruiting.
Absolutely. As y'all know, like I said, Najeh covers recruiting over there for us, football and basketball. Like he is not just limited. He is a multifaceted talent, and I love having him over there. He does a good job. So just a few housekeeping things before we really dig into this. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you listen on podcast form, be sure to give us a review. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know the things we can improve upon, as always. And we will definitely take care of that. But I guess just a quick note about baseball. Whenever whenever me and him get back together, we'll kind of review the baseball season. Definitely a heartbreaking way to lose last week, but I'll dive more into that in a future episode. But today, I mainly want to hit football recruiting because, like I said, with baseball ending, the athletic season has come to a bit of a slow. Like it's we're in the dog days of summer. We're getting into them where we're all waiting for football season. And, we got the game times for several football games, including a Black Friday matchup with Georgia in primetime now. I know a lot of people are excited about that. The first game of the year is in primetime against Georgia State. That's going to be an interesting one. But for right now, I think recruiting is the main focus. June is such a busy month. I mean, you're going to have official visitors coming each and every weekend. And currently at Georgia Tech, they've got prospect camps going on right now. They've got 7-on-7 camps going on right now. And Najeh was at every one of them this week, and he got a chance to see a lot of really good talent. And so I'll kind of let you have the floor here. Take it any direction you want to go. Talk about who you liked, what you saw, some guys that stood out, and just kind of your impression of how things went over there.
Certainly. So for the audience, just give a quick intro on me. Obviously, I'm Najeh Wilkins. So blessed to be able to work and honored to work with Jackson Caudill of All Yellow Jacket. Man, it's been such a great experience. I also cover high school recruiting for Score Atlanta. I'll be doing probably some TV work this year with Peachtree Sports Network as well. So pretty in big with the high school world. But what I've seen this week, it's been hectic. Obviously, we had the commits over the weekend, Jax. And that was obviously Rashawn Dinkins and then Jimmy Bryson. So I got a chance to see both of them. Bryson back at the UA camp, obviously when they had it at Nashville. But this past week, couple guys, they're starting to buzz. One name to know, guys, Jaden George. You'll see kind of what happens with him. But his former teammate who's actually at Georgia Tech right now, that is Cedric Franklin. He's been kind of buzzing, y'all. He's actually back there today. This is not known, but he's back there today for a workout specifically for Tech. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. Maybe an offer potentially coming. We'll see kind of what happens there. But I was actually surprised. I don't know, Jackson, if you've seen it, but Petty was actually there on campus. So I didn't know if he had set an official visit. I think that's what's been kind of floating around on X. But he was there specifically with Coach Key, getting a good tour of the campus. He recently announced his top 5, and he was there on campus and said, per Rivals, Georgia Tech holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, he's talking about 5-star offensive tackle Josh Petty. Look, he's an in-state prospect. They're 5 stars in the country. They are the elite players, and that perfectly describes him. If you're talking about a tone setter up front, that would be such a huge get. And Tech has been in this recruitment in the thick of it for a while. I know he got a recruiting prediction. I think it was on 3. I think Steve Wiltfong put one in for him to land at Florida State. That was last month. There hasn't really been any momentum towards a commitment. I know he's still got a Tennessee visit. I know he's still got I think Florida State is his last official visit, if I'm correct. But yeah, that's who we're talking about. Just that would be such a massive, massive commitment. That would be huge.
Yes, it would. So they're very high on him. He is very high on them. So that's one to watch. The other one is 3-star athlete Phoenix Felton, who's kind of blown up a little bit. He was obviously there last week on an official visit. He's buzzing. He holds Georgia Tech very high in regard. That is another one that could potentially watch, in the coming weeks. If you see something, don't be surprised. But that's another big one for them. Actually, when I was there, Jackson, a lot of Georgia Tech staff members went up to him and was talking to him. So they are very high on him. Another kid is one we posted about, reposted with Sam Turner, wide receiver, has his official visit locked in as well. I was there, watched a couple of games at Southwest the Cap. Coach Key was there and staff members. Coach Key specifically was up with Sam Turner having a conversation with him for a good about 3 to 5 minutes. So they're very high on him as well. Another one they want to land. And then another one, they were on him heavy yesterday, Jax. That's Dalen Pinson, the athlete, probably will play DB. They are very high on him. He is also locked in an official visit as well with the Yellow Jackets, man. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, Jax. I've probably seen 5 or 6 coaches talk to him throughout the day. So they feel very, very high about Pinson. Obviously, we'll see kind of how he feels about them. But that was a couple of guys they sent OVs with and guys they were in a lot of talkings with when I was there.
Yeah, I'm a big Sam Turner fan. Like this is a Sam Turner podcast. I'm just putting my stake in right now. Super talented player. We'll see what happens with that recruitment. So going back to this past weekend, this was, they had a few commitments already. Andre Fuller from Grayson. I know you've gotten to see him up close, and you can talk about him if you want to. But just going back, there were 3 commitments over the past few days. Jimmy Bryson, the offensive lineman. Then you had Rashawn Dinkins out of Warner Robins, the safety. Now I'm a big fan of him as well. Like Ole Miss, Mississippi State. I know Florida State had an offer out there as well. Like that was a big get. And then J.P. Powell on Monday. I know you've had a chance to talk to him personally. I guess, how do each of these guys fit in? And what do you think that they bring to the table? And like how you think these are like good fits for Georgia Tech?
Certainly, I'll start with Jimmy Bryson. Very good feet. Picks up things very, very quickly. Didn't win MVP obviously at the UA camp, but did some nice things there. Won a lot of reps, I would say. You look at a guy like that. What has Tech been known for? Why has their offense been so good? The offensive line lately has been really, really good for them. So I look at a guy like a Jimmy Bryson. Another 2, maybe 3 years, he could be in there and be a starter for you, right? Learn behind those great offensive linemen. So definitely a good fit there. Then when you look at kind of Rashawn Dinkins, you look at a hard-hitting safety, can play in the box, come downhill, also can play coverage very, very, very well. A guy that can play multiple positions. So a guy like that makes your defense better because when he comes in, then you have a guy that you can kind of move around and see where he can kind of fit in at. So that's a great pickup for them. And also a connection you guys might have didn't know. Isaiah Kenyon, who is there now, is his former teammate, played with him this past year for the fans that didn't know that. So obviously I think that had a little bit to do with him coming in. And then J.P. Powell, man, he's always loved Georgia Tech. To be real with you, when I talked with him, some of the schools that were real high on, obviously Mississippi State was another one. They were in big contention, in Florida State. But, man, he loved Georgia Tech, and he talked very, very highly of them as a program he wanted to. And what he loved the most, Jax, is that they were on him early, and then they didn't stop in that process. They kept that constant communication, talking with him every day. So I feel like J.P. Powell, what he's going to be able to add is a guy that can come in, pick up the offense here pretty quickly, very smart, intelligent guy, and a hard-hitting guy. It's a lot to bring him down. His balance, Jax, is next level. When you roll that tape, you roll that film, it takes multiple guys to bring him down. So that's one of the questions we've been having, though, Jax. Like when we look at Georgia Tech, who's going to be that next guy behind, obviously, a Jamal Haynes? And, obviously Anthony Carey is going to have a potential chance to kind of compete for that position in fall camp and stuff like that. But bringing in Powell, that's going to be another player that could potentially get to play, especially next year.
Yeah. Look, I know Powell is listed as an athlete. I don't know if it's on both on 3 and 247. You see him sticking at running back, right? Or do you see him maybe moving around?
I see him sticking at running back. I highly doubt that he'll move. But then again, when he gets on campus, that could be a different story. But right now, as it is, I think running back.
Now, Grady Adamson, he committed, I believe it was in April. It was during the spring. And I know you got a chance to talk to him. He's going to be on campus this weekend. Look, the quarterback recruiting has been pretty good. Last year, Aaron Philo, Graham Knowles, you get 2 talented guys in there. Of course, you have Haynes King and Zach Pyron already. So, you at least have depth at the position. What did you learn when talking to him? And I know you've gotten to watch him a little bit too. Is this just the quarterback room is really bright, or what did you see out of him?
Yeah, his mental processing, Jackson. To be honest, man, he just knows how to make the right reads. He doesn't turn over the ball a lot. And he does a really good job leading his receivers in stride. So I think that's why he's such a great fit for Georgia Tech. They look for guys that have a strong mental standpoint at the QB spot. You go look at Aaron Philo, went to Prince Avenue Christian, has a good, strong mental makeup. Same with obviously Graham Knowles. So they have something specific they look for when they look at quarterback. And Grady Addison checks that out. Very intelligent guy when you talk to him and what he can bring to the table. Also, lately too, they look for guys that are mobile. Adamson is also very mobile. And one of the things that I picked up when he talked to me, he loves his improvisation. He felt like he can improv very, very, very good. One of the best facets of his game is being able to improv and create plays off the run, or when somebody's coming with pressure, being able to create and making it into big plays. So that's another good point as well for him. So I think he fits the offense very well.
Okay, we'll start wrapping it up a little bit. But one thing I did want to get you on a little bit is, look, Tech finished really strong in recruiting towards the end of last year. They had a couple of, really big signing day gets. Montre Bradford, the defensive end, Anthony Carey, obviously getting him. I think he's going to play a big role this year. How do you think this class can be better than last year's, and how close to the top 25 do you think it can get?
I think really if they get Josh Petty, I think they're going to be in the top 25. I'm going to go ahead and be real with you. I mean, there's nothing that you can say about this class that when you land a prospect like that, you're not a top 25. If they don't get Petty and they stay right, I think they stay right outside of that top 25. But quietly, Jax, I think they're putting together a very, very, very good 2025 class. That's even better right now, in my opinion, than the 24 class, which was very good at the end. But I think they're getting their guys early and often. And them picking up those 3 recruits within that weekend says a lot. And what they're doing with their OVs is what's really, really bringing it home for them. They some programs struggle with that. Georgia Tech is doing a great job with OVs, resonating with them. And then what I like too, that a lot of people don't know about Tech, is that they're letting their players be involved in this process too. Not letting them do different things, but just letting them have conversation with the players and give them the real. Not every program does that. When you got players doing that, and then the players that are on campus can resonate with the players and love their authenticity and how real they are with them, that goes a long way. So I think right outside the top 25, no Petty, with Petty, top 25. And they got some guys they still want to get after too that are high 4-star in prospects. So I definitely think they are right on the precipice of a elite class.
Yeah, and one thing I want to remind people on that I always harp on this time of year is if you don't see your team in the top 25 or even the top 30, like just be patient. A lot of and I don't mean this as shots at these programs at all. Wake Forest has a top 15 class right now. That's not going to happen. Like they're getting a lot of commitments early, and it's going to boost them up a little bit in the rankings. Like, see, Syracuse, I think they got like nearly 20 commits or something like that. Like Fran Brown's been doing a lot of good work, and not saying that those classes won't be good, but like right now, if you have a large quantity of players, you're going to be boosted up there. So look, a lot of people were like, well, Tech's back in the 60s, back in this. Well, yeah, they've only got a couple players committed. Now they're slowly rising up there. And I'm just telling people, June is such a big month. June is just, you're going to have so many official visits, and then it's going to carry into the fall. Recruiting is just, it's a 24/7 thing. Like, you're just going to do it year round, and things can change. Like, it's, we see it all the time, like players flipping, like it's a long process. And so I just preach patience during the summer. And it's okay to be disappointed if you think things should be better, if you miss out on some guys, but I always preach patience this time of year, because, you miss out on one guy, that opens the door for another guy. So we'll definitely see how it goes. But I agree with you. I think the recruiting is going to continue to get better, because I remember reading, it was a piece in The Athletic, they were talking to high school coaches around Georgia and, even in some surrounding states about, who's doing a good job. And they have nothing but good things to say about Brent Key and his staff for how they approach recruiting Georgia, the city of Atlanta, just everything. And I think you're going to see that play out this year and in the years to come. He's made good staff hires with good connections to the high schools in the area. I think that's only going to pay off in the long term, and we're going to hopefully see that play out over the next couple of weeks. But busy season in recruiting, and then it's going to carry over into the fall. They're going to have big visitors for each home game they have there. Playing Georgia State at home, that week 1 game after Florida State's going to be big. So that's going to do it. It's a little bit of a brief episode. But, you got something else?
One more thing. I did want to talk real quick about players before we wrap. At the 707 that kind of caught my eye real quick. So the latest players were offered, guys. Jake Godfrey, that is the son of Eric Godfrey, who's at North Gwinnett, 2027. I like that Georgia Tech got on him a little bit earlier in the recruitment. Adam Carter's another one, big body receiver, 2025. We'll see how his recruiting goes, guys, but he could be in that same kind of format. He's not rated or anything, guys, but he has that same kind of body build of a Sam Turner. So that is one to watch. And then a couple to keep your eye on. I want to give a shout out to Jaden George. We talked about him a little bit earlier, but Kale receiver, man, the guy could do everything, man. He was sidearming footballs, was giving his all out there. He caught my eye. Contarius Mooney Gibson, that's another one to watch. Obviously, the former Georgia Tech great, Jonathan Dwyer, is his running back coach at Kale. So that is something to watch for as well. And he recently got inducted to Georgia High School Football Hall of Fame. Also want to give a shout out to St. Lucis receiver Jamar Browder. He put on the show this past, had a couple coaches talking to him at Georgia Tech. That is one to watch as well. I know he's high on NC State, but just watch that recruitment as well. That could be interesting. And the last couple, Hollis Davis and the McIntosh, recently committed from Auburn. He had a really good showing. And then Nicholas Bookman. I just feel like he would really fit in Georgia Tech scheme well. I don't know if he'll get an offer, but he balled out, caught the game-winning catch for North Gwinnett to help them win the championship at 7-on-7. 2025 guy will be a great slot receiver. He was a tough cover all day. Defense was having fits guarding him. But I want to give those guys a couple shout-outs.
That's awesome stuff, man. Like, I'm telling you, y'all have to follow Najeh if you want to keep up with Georgia Tech recruiting. Like, there's really nobody that works harder. There's nobody that's, more involved. Like, he does a fantastic job. I encourage everybody. Where can they, like, I'll just let you plug anything you want to right here. Like, your socials, like, where can people find you? Where can people find the things you do? You got the floor.
So appreciate that. So yes, guys, follow me on all social media platforms. That is X, that's Instagram, TikTok, also YouTube at Najeh Wilk. A lot of times, guys, I also have people on the YouTube handle. A lot of these Georgia Tech, prospects or potential interest in Georgia Tech, I have them on the platform to get some intel to write about for SI and Sports Illustrated on All Yellow Jackets. So y'all give me a follow, man. Any news you want to hear, man, I have it here, and we're going to have it on allyellowjacket.com.
Busy month ahead. So, like I said at the beginning of the show, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Like the video, help us out. Leave comments below. If you're listening on podcast form, give us a 1-star, 2-star, whatever rating you want to give us. Let us give me some feedback. Let us know what we can continue to improve on. And that's going to do it for our show today. Really appreciate Najeh coming through and talking Georgia Tech recruiting. We're definitely going to have him back on at some point in the future. And thank you guys for listening.